everyone. This is Maren, and you're listening to Homeschool Unrefined, the podcast where we keep homeschool simple, real, and fun.
And this is Angela. You've got episode 105, where we honor authenticity. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But first, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. We're so glad to have you.
Yep. Always.
Yes. We want to say a special hello to our Patreon supporters. Thank you for supporting us. And, you know, we've talked on here a lot about our different levels of support on Patreons. We don't want to go too much into that, but we did want to let you know that we had our newest episode is a February check-in
for our $3 and
up
right?
supporters. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've done check-ins on this podcast before in the past, and now we're putting them on Patreon for this season while we're only doing episodes every other week here.
Yeah, because we love doing those. And we didn't want to give them up.
Right. And you guys have loved them.
Yeah,
so we wanted to be able to do that.
Definitely.
And then we just released something we called LTW Extra for our $8 supporters, just a little bonus because we appreciate them so much.
Yeah.
So in that one, we talked about like podcasts and books and movies and TV and etc. that we're
lots of
into.
random stuff. Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And we meant to go short, but it was an hour. So
we could have kept going.
Yeah.
And don't forget also for the $8 members, you get a free 30-minute coaching call with us. So, and I just want to encourage you, those do not have to be these huge formal coaching conversations. This can be, I want to throw an idea out there and see what you guys think about it. Or, can you help me figure out my personality type? Or, you know, it doesn't have to be a big struggle that you're dealing with, but it can be. But it doesn't have to be a big deal.
It can be just two friends bouncing ideas off of each other.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So
we really look forward to those. We really do.
For sure. So, if you're new here, we just wanted to give you a special welcome and give you a little brief introduction to our podcast. We're here to change the conversation about homeschooling.
Yep. Maybe look at it in a different way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel overwhelmed about all the things that they have to do. So we are here to encourage you to actually maybe do less.
Take a few things off your plate.
Yep.
Yes.
And to be yourself.
And feel good about that.
Yeah.
Feel good about
for sure.
where you are right now.
Yeah.
Today.
Right. So we are going to get to that conversation. Our conversation about being yourself actually is what we're talking about today. We're going to get to that in a minute.
Yes. But first, Angela, you just came home from Arizona.
I did.
To a snowy wonderland.
I know.
So how was Arizona?
It was great. You know, escaping the weather is always a plus. And this winter has been relentless here.
It has. We've been getting bombarded with snow.
Yeah.
So I know you wanted to go on lots of hikes.
Yeah. So, okay. You know, Jeremy has some work in Arizona and he had a week-long work thing. And so we tagged along with him. And we love to hike in Arizona. We've been there many times. We actually used to live there a while ago for a short stint. And so it is one of our favorite things to do because, I mean, you can hike in Minnesota, but you know, there's no mountains. So it's just not the same. And so
it is beautiful hiking. It is beautiful hiking, especially in the winter.
Yeah. But I would love to hear from any of our listeners or you, Maren. My kids are not they don't love to embrace hiking like I do.
Yeah.
They'll do it, but they sometimes like to complain depending on the hike. So
okay. So you know what I was just thinking about? Today, I was thinking I need to go back and listen to 2 of our old episodes.
Okay, which ones?
The first one is with Emily Carlson, where we adventure.
I know.
She's
an inspiration.
She is, and her kids love adventuring with her.
I know.
Love it because she loves it. Okay, and then the other one is with Greta Eskridge.
Yeah.
And she has so many great tips on how to get your kids super excited. Both of them, I'll just say, and bring candy.
I know. Which I forgot.
Not saying you need to, but
I forgot that. I know. I should have brought snacks. I don't know what I was thinking.
It's okay.
You think I'd learn. You're right.
No, it's okay.
We'll put links to those 2 episodes in our show notes if you want to listen. But yes, I kind of screwed up. So when we first got there, Jeremy loves hiking too. So he's like, let's go hiking, and he had found this like 3.5-mile hike that he's done a few times before when he's been down there for work. Yeah, doable
for your kids who are like 13,
12 and 10.
Yep.
Totally. And so but we get there and it's uphill the whole way, so we get to about mile 2.5, and the kids are like, kind of done. Yeah. And Jeremy was real disappointed because he wanted to go like all the way just like a little bit further. And I was like, we should have thought this through. We should have started with like a 1 to 2 miler.
Warm up.
Why did we like want to do this hard hike first? So anyway, so then after that, our kids were not real excited about hiking, but then Jeremy had a work hiking event that they went on one night, and somebody else planned it, and it was to a place we'd been before, so the kids were familiar with it. But we tried to decide if we were going to go with or not, and we had decided, okay, we'll go with, but we'll turn around if it gets too long. Like we don't need to go the whole way. And so we got there and found out it was a 4.7-mile hike, and so we were like, all right, well, if we need to turn around
last time,
we can.
Okay,
we can turn around. But there were a lot of work people there, and so when there's a lot of other people with, like, my kids are more into it,
and they're not going to complain around a bunch of
they
people.
Didn't complain about around all these other people. So anyway, long story short, we got a couple miles into it, and we were like, well, it's only 4.7 miles, so if we turned back now, we could just do the whole thing because it was like a loop of 4.7 miles.
Okay.
So after 2 miles, we were like, well, let's just keep going. Anyway, long story short, he got the mileage wrong.
Oh, no.
So we were like on the back side of the mountain after like 4.5 miles, and you still had to like climb the mountain and get to the other side. And
ouch.
And my son had a huge blister. It was like this huge blister, and there were a few people on our in our group who didn't want to continue, and so luckily there was another parking lot, and I took a couple of the kids and a couple work people, and we went and waited at this other parking lot for them to finish and then drive around and get us, and so we waited like an hour standing there. But
so how many miles did you end up going, and then how did some of your kids go? Like, keep going?
Yeah. So I think we went about 4.5 or 5 total, but it wasn't straight uphill. It was kind of like this rolling up and down hill kind of the whole way. So it was beautiful weather. I mean, it was like 60 or something.
But I have to tell you though, 5 miles hiking though, hiking is so much more than a walk.
I know.
Even if it's rolling hills or whatever.
I know.
It is. It's just... It takes more energy for sure.
And then the rest of them did like over 6. And Jeremy was like, you are so lucky you didn't do this. He said, this was the straightest up a mountain I've ever done. He's like, it was like using his hands and feet at the same time,
Oh my gosh.
And so, and they were like running out of water and, whatever. So, so the guy who planned it, I think, felt a little bad, but he's a little gung-ho too, he's just really into it and excited.
Sure.
And
I know those people.
So it was fun, but so we did a little hiking.
Good for you. Way to go though.
Yeah,
should be proud of yourselves.
Thanks. We did some swimming too. We're like the only ones swimming,
of course.
It's like 60 and sunny. It got hot. It was hot. It was.
I'm hoping the pool was heated.
It was, and I didn't go in. I just watched them. But honestly, I had to move to the shade several times.
Oh my gosh,
too hot.
Our Minnesota winter blood is like too thick. I think we like have evolved into having thicker blood. I'm not kidding you. Minnesota, especially during the winter.
Yeah. So it was great. I mean, the kids and I had a nice, relaxing vacation. Jeremy worked really hard, and he did not, but we had fun together. So,
and you got to read lots of good books.
I got to read lots of
books, which is awesome.
Go on walks, and my kids did way too much screen time, but I don't care.
Vacation.
It's good. It's fine.
Hashtag vacation. Way to go. That sounds amazing.
And now we have another snow day today.
Yep. Back to more snow. I mean, really, all week I was just thinking, you picked the perfect week to be gone. Oh my God.
The week I was gone was good. It was good. Yeah.
It was,
but, I mean,
super cold. and super snowy. So
I know.
You lucked out. Now today is like warmer. I mean, warmer, 25 degrees, 25 degrees.
And snowing. It's actually nice. It's great to be outside.
Beautiful if you don't have to drive anywhere. It's just awesome. It's like a snow globe. It's great. All right. So anyway, let's move on to our topic.
Yeah.
So we really wanted to do this topic. We're calling it Where We Honor Authenticity. But really, our goal is to talk about being yourself today. And it came from this idea. We wanted to have a 3-part series where we talk about 3 of the most important parts of Homeschool Unrefined. Last week, we talked about 2 weeks ago, where we Marie Kondo our homeschool. And that was where we really focused on doing less, paring down and getting, having the best part of your homeschool shine, right? And this week we're going to talk about being yourself. And then our next episode will be about thinking differently about homeschool and how we can just really shift our perspective and really see that what we're doing is very valuable. Yep. So today, be yourself. And we are really going to honor our authentic selves today. And why don't we just start out by talking about why is it so important for us to be ourselves?
So we talked about 3 different reasons that it's important to be yourself. One is for our kids, one is for us, and one is for the world.
Yes.
So should we talk about for our kids?
Why not? Let's start there.
Why is it important for us to be ourselves for our kids?
Yep. Well, I think it's so important for our kids to see us doing what we love to do, not what other people love to do. I think for me, I'm just a happier person when I'm doing things the way I meant to do them. I'm a happier mom, and kids need a happier mom. If kids need me, my kids need me as a happier mom.
For sure.
Because I think we can just get into these habits where we're just perpetually unhappy. And it makes for this, like, what kind of life is that, And I've been in there. I've been in that where we're all just like perpetually frustrated all the time. It's just not a fun place to live. It's not a good place to live. And I don't want my kids to grow up thinking this is how you need to live your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to be a good role model for them, and so that they know it's okay for them to be themselves.
Yes.
When they are older. And I hope that through me, like, living authentically and doing things differently than other people around me do them, they will know that we value that, and they'll see the good energy that I'm putting off, and they'll see that hopefully for them in the future they'll want to do the same.
Yes.
And so I really just want to encourage that in them, because I think I want them to be healthy and happy too. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And this doesn't mean that we don't have to do hard things, or that we don't have like difficult times or sad times, or have to go through periods when life is difficult. That's not what I'm saying at all. But if we can honor ourselves, I think that makes things easier.
Well, and I also think it's easier to do hard things when it's within something you want to be doing. Does that make sense to you? Like, my big picture is, this homeschooling my kids, right? And so there are lots of hard things to do within homeschooling, but because of this big picture that I'm trying to create, this environment, it's all worth it to me. So it's okay that, I'm doing things that I don't always love doing. I don't love cleaning the kitchen every day, but it has to happen, right? But because it's within this big picture of, creating this environment with my kids, I think my kids can see, she doesn't like doing that, but she gets the whole picture, and she sees that, and she wants that, and it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it's so good to teach our kids to kind of decipher what is worth it and what's not worth it. There are a lot of hard things that really aren't worth it in this life.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of things that are. And I want them to work hard on those things. I really want them to work hard on those things.
Yeah. This is something that's taken me so long to figure out. And I still haven't. But
yeah,
I wish I had learned that when I was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I agree. And I think, it's so interesting because just even in the last week, 2 of my kids have come home from different activities with like a score on something, a score.
Yeah.
And I feel like it, to me, it's just not how I work, getting a score from a project or something.
Yeah.
And it just brought so many feelings out of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it is actually very good to evaluate things. But I also think let's not put all of our value on that score that you just got. Because that was somebody else's criteria. And I don't want that to snuff out your love of learning from this thing that you're doing. I mean,
that's so good.
Yeah. Right. So, and I think as a kid for me, and I think it was just the culture. I don't know if it was anybody's fault in particular, like 1 or 2 people. It was just, this is the culture of,
this the way it was.
Was it what? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That I just felt like those scores and those grades, that's what I should be working towards. And it wasn't I wasn't working towards being authentically myself, really.
Right. It was somebody else's idea of what you should be working towards.
Right.
Yeah.
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 So that's why I love homeschooling.
Yeah. Right. Right. Okay. So why is it important to be ourselves for us? And
Yeah.
I think
Oh my gosh.
We kind of talked about this a little bit already.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these go together.
Yeah. So true.
But I think for me, it helps me to be more content with life.
Yes.
Less anxious about what I'm unable to do.
Right.
And I feel like physically, it makes me healthier physically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I do feel like I physically feel better when I am feeling good about myself. Physically feel better.
Yeah, all that stress and tension in your body is not good for you.
A lot physically. Of that, and I think a lot of my physical problems have to do with boundaries sometimes, or like saying yes to the right things and saying no to the right things. And that's so much of being myself. Like it might be the right thing for somebody else to to do it this way. For me, I need to say yes to these things and no to these things. And then my physical health benefits so much from those things. And then not only my physical health, but just like I said, I'm just a happier person. I'm joyful. Right. I'm energetic. I want to spend time with people, or, like in a positive way.
Yeah. And not just your physical health, but your emotional, mental
spiritual
health
everything.
As well.
Yes,
all of it. For sure.
Yeah. Okay. And also I feel like maybe it's just our 40s, Angela. I feel like I've been really reflective upon this the last couple of years. But I feel like I have a different outlook on just who I am as a person. I have my self-esteem has just gone up so much. I just feel good about myself when I value who I really am.
Right.
And be okay with my weaknesses. And just like name them and just say, it's okay that I'm not like great at everything. And then really celebrate my strengths. I think it's hard to celebrate our strengths sometimes because we don't think they're important, or, nobody would care if I'm good at this.
It's sometimes hard to see them as strengths because they might not be valued by the world as a strength.
Right. And that's definitely what I've thought a lot of my life. Like I have these strengths, but they're just like so unimportant to anybody. Yeah. Like why would anybody care that I'm good at these things? Well, actually it's important. Yeah. It just looks different than everybody else's strengths.
Right. And it's so good to name those things for you and also for your kids to see you to see you valuing and appreciating these things that are not normally valued and appreciated by the world.
Right.
But are strengths.
This is such a process for me. This is where I'm really I'm growing so much, and yet I feel like I still have so far to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Me too. And okay, and for the world,
right.
I think I just really believe this as I've gotten older.
Yes.
Which all of this is as I've gotten older, but I feel like the world needs you.
Yes.
The world needs you and who you authentically are. The world does not want you to be a copy of your neighbor or your friend or somebody you see on Instagram. The world needs your energy, your ideas, your thoughts, your creativity. And that is going to look different from every other single person.
Right. And this is a message you probably haven't heard your whole life long.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe you do know this about yourself that what best case scenario, you figured this out about yourself, right?
Yeah.
You know that your gifts are important to the world, and yet you still have to live in that for a while to fully encompass it and understand it. Because I think our world just doesn't preach that message to us our whole lives. We have to grab onto that message and like really live in it, really live there. And I think it's so important for us to do this. And like, this goes back to our first one with like, it's so important for our kids to really grasp that too. And how great would it be if they started grasping that right now as a kid?
Yeah.
They'd have so many more years to live in that knowledge, in that reality. And so when they're adults, just think, like the potential.
It would be amazing.
The potentials. Yeah. The potential is amazing.
It would be amazing. Yeah. We're not sold that message.
We are not.
We're sold more like conformity and, doing this is what successful people do.
Right.
This is how a mom is. This is how a homeschool parent is.
Yes.
This is how a wife or spouse is. And yeah, it took me a long time to unlearn.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to start to unlearn.
Things. I know.
Yeah.
It's another process, very long. It's a forever process. It's a lifelong process for sure.
Right.
Yeah. But it does take a lot of energy to work on our weaknesses. Like if we're focusing on our own weaknesses, which I feel like I did for many years. And I was like, I got to get better at all these, well, for me, administrative things, organizational things. I need to get better at this. This is what the world is kind of telling me I need to get better at, I have to be better at this. I'm planning. I have to get better at planning. And all this stuff. And I worked my tail off to get better at those things. And I slightly got better at them. I slightly got better at them. And but now I feel like now that I'm really thinking about my strengths, which are so different than what I always thought was important for me to do in this world, it's just, I feel like it's an explosion of growth.
Right.
So,
yes.
It just makes so much more of an impact. It's going to make more of an impact on the world that I'm working on my strengths.
Right.
Not that I don't want to I can't just ignore my weaknesses either. I need to work on those. I need to be doing them every day.
Yeah, but the world needs your strengths.
Yes,
and that's going to be easier for you to work on.
Yes.
It's going to be easier for you to develop those. And so that's what you should be focused on rather than the things. You gotta learn how to work with your weaknesses. But not make them into strengths. Because that's impossible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And so like I can work maybe 20% of my time on my weaknesses, and like 80% I should be doing strengths. I should be really living in that strengths area and like just enjoying. And because that kind of work is more enjoyable for me too. And for you too, I'm sure. Like
for sure.
When you're working on your strengths, it just it propels energy for me,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we wanted to talk about each of us personally and what this looks like for us, kind of practically. In the world.
Yep.
And so we would encourage you, as you are listening to this and thinking about yourself, we want you to think about yourself and what this might look like for you.
Yeah.
So for me, one thing this looks like for me is lots of introverted time throughout the day. I need lots of time to be an introvert during the day, even though I'm homeschooling my kids. even though that's my job, even though that's my primary responsibility, if I don't get lots of introverted time, even during the day, I struggle as a parent.
Yeah.
And so it took me a long time to realize this, by the way. I used to think that I had to save that stuff for like nights and weekends and cram it into little corners.
Right.
And it took me a long time to put it front and center as like, it's like water or air. It's something I need
oh my gosh.
to be able to be a mom, you know?
Yeah, I think it's so important to identify that as important as water and air.
Yeah. It is.
So important it is.
It's important. Mm-hmm. So what that looks like is taking time during the day to read, taking time during the day to go for walks.
Yeah.
And also using my earbuds liberally.
I love it.
Liberal earbud use.
Yes.
And like I said, I'm growing in this area. Like a year and a half ago, this is not where I was at all. Yeah. So, I mean, this has just been in the last year and a half, and my health has really improved since I've been able to do this. Yeah. So I think it's important. Now, am I able to do those things every day? No. Like I'm not able to do them every day like I want to, but I still try. It's a goal because those make me healthy. Those things make me healthier and make it so that I'm able to have the energy that I need to be there for my kids in the way that they need. Right. Yep.
And your kids are better off for it.
Yeah.
They're better off.
Yeah,
for sure.
Also for me, what this means is, as a homeschooler, read aloud is a high priority for me. That's just where I live. It's what I enjoy doing with the kids. And so when I'm making that a priority, I'm feeling successful as a homeschooler. Yeah. So that might not be the case for everybody. Right. You know, I know people who don't enjoy that. That's great. You know, you should do the things that you are enjoying. Yep. But read aloud is something that I really enjoy. And so when I'm enjoying it, my kids are enjoying it. And when I make it a priority, I feel like I'm doing a good job.
Yes.
Okay, so that's one thing. Another thing that this means for me as a homeschooler is I don't do a lot of planning. Yeah. I used to think, this is so interesting.
This is so good for people to hear. Just FYI, people's minds are being blown right now. No planning, less planning. Wow.
Okay. Well, I'm a J on the Myers-Briggs. I'm pretty organized. I used to think of myself as a planner. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I used to think of myself as this like super organized, type A kind of person.
The thing is, you are very organized and a planner.
I'm organized, but I am not a planner. I hate it. It feels constricting.
You plan in different ways. It's not like you don't like to put things on your calendar, or you don't like to say, today we're doing this, 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 and this at these times. You don't like that.
No. And I don't even like to, I don't know. I feel like if I have something planned for homeschool and then we don't, and then we might change our mind. It might not be what fits for that moment. And so then I'm just going to feel like a failure. So I feel like I'd rather take it day by day or like moment by moment.
Yes.
I don't know. That just works better for me. What happens is I obviously know a lot of homeschoolers, and when they're planners and they like plan out their year and have a homeschool planner, or they're printing off pages to plan or whatever. Yep. I can feel like, I mean, my first thought is, that is amazing. I have got to do that. Like that is always my first thought.
Me too. When I see that kind of stuff, I think that's probably the right way to do it. It's the right way to do it.
And then I have to backtrack and go, no. It's okay. Like the way you're doing it is actually good for you, and that's good for them.
Yes.
And so it's taken me a while. I mean, you and I used to get together and plan.
Yeah.
Our year.
I know.
We haven't done that in a few years.
Nope.
Because we're just not the way we do it anymore. Nope. Okay. Anyway, and I bet you're going to talk about this because I know you don't love using curriculum either. But I don't use much curriculum either. Yeah. So
Which,
and I had to
go back to last week's episode for more information on that.
Yeah. I use some.
Yeah.
I use some in bits and pieces here and there.
Yep.
But I feel, again, like restricted by a curriculum. Like I feel like it boxes me in, and I don't want to do that.
This is where you and I are a lot alike.
We are
in that way.
But and if you like curriculum and that's your thing, you should totally
do
rock
it.
That.
Yes.
Do it. Yes.
Because I think for some people it feels very stabilizing.
Oh yeah.
And like I don't have to do any of the work or the thinking.
I know.
I don't want to think about what I have to do every day. It's right there. And I get that. I think
that is what I think about it. That's why I get drawn into it, because I think, oh, this would be so easy. It's going to be planned for me.
Right.
I'm not going to have to think about anything. And so I can get lured in, and then I never use it.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. Okay.
That's where it falls apart.
Okay. And then the other thing about this for me, what this looks like for me is I need flexibility to be able to take time off, days off, change things up when things come up. And I love that part about homeschooling, and I need to be able to do that.
Yes.
For our days. And so I do that. I take lots of random times off, days off,
and
scrap things, and I just think that's the way I work. And I need to embrace that.
Okay, I just have got to piggyback on that, because I have that something very similar to that written down. Like I feel like we need time off, but I also don't. Okay, maybe officially it's time off, but I also think that's when processing time happens.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't just learn, input all the time.
Yeah.
You need space to process.
It's not really time off.
No. Yeah. It's processing time. It's like...
That's a good way to put it.
Or,
we need some processing time.
Or choice time. Like, we can't just, like... Our kids need to have choices in what they're doing, too. So there's, like, so much empowerment in that, too. And I just think we have got to value that. We have to value that. This is where they learn their authentic self.
Right.
In those times.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
So what else besides that, Maren? What else does this look like for you?
Okay, for me, it looks like... Okay, so I put a few keywords are fun.
Yeah.
I like to have fun. And this is just my personality and my life. I mean, I just think any job I'm doing, it has to be fun. It has to be high level interest for me. It just does. It definitely, homeschool for me has got to be curiosity driven. So it can't ever feel like we just have to get through this or get done with this. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that for my own life. And it has to be like, somebody's pulling me in rather than like pushing me into it. Like, draw me in. It has to be, that's what I want. So, and I think I want to teach that to my kids too, because and I know their whole life is not going to be like this, full of super interesting things 100% of the time. But I want them to be drawn to a life of curiosity. I want them to be drawn to an occupation where they're continuously curious about things and they can't wait to like keep working on it.
Yeah.
And so I really want that fostered right now for them. Also, less planning.
Yeah.
And the great news is this curiosity, led learning does not really require a lot of planning.
Yeah.
It's a lot of preparing the environment, which like the Montessori method I am inspired by the Montessori method in that way, where like I love to have things out and ready for the curiosity to be sparked. So I'm pretty good actually at that kind of planning. I'm good at stocking shelves. I'm good at stocking books. I'm good at stocking the fridge for whatever's going to happen in the kitchen, because my kids love to cook. But I can prepare, I'm good at stocking the game shelf, or, all these things. Like, that is where my strengths are. And then whatever sparks our interest that day is like what I like to do. That's my kind of homeschool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I really love, and this kind of piggybacks on curiosity, but I like to travel. And that does not just mean like, it doesn't have to be across the world, doesn't have to be across the country, but just like to wherever. I mean, it could be to Lake Superior, which is a couple hours away, or, or to a new park in our neighborhood. I just like to check out new things.
Right.
And I think that is another place where just a lot of curiosity is sparked. So
that's awesome.
Ideally in my homeschool, I would say yes a lot. Yes. Like when my kids say, "Oh, can we make this?" I want to say yes. Can we check out this? Can we do this science project? Yes. I just, because that's really what's high interest to them. So if it's something they're asking me to do, they probably are going to learn the most from that thing because it's what they're interested in. So I want to say yes a lot more, which leads me to like the idea of these projects. I mean, we have a lot of we're kind of project driven. So, and I don't mean like super formal projects. I just mean we learn, I think in our home, we learn more just from experiences. And it's not like a project that I've planned. It's just a project that's happening.
Yeah. Right.
Kid led most of the time. Yeah. So, and I think, like I said, space. There has to be space between these things, between all the activity, for reflection, for self-regulation, for processing what we just did.
Yep.
So all that.
I got to be honest.
Yeah.
That sounds so amazing. And my first thought is, I got to do that.
Yeah. No, see?
I know.
That's the problem. Don't do that.
I know. I know. And so I hope all of you listening are not listening to Maren or me and thinking, oh, I got to do it more like that. Yeah. That sounds amazing.
And also don't think that this looks amazing. This does not look amazing. It doesn't. I mean,
kind of does to me.
When you come to my house, it looks amazing. I mean, if you came to my house,
amazing.
You would not think it was an amazing thing that's happening. Because it's like it looks disheveled and messy, and it can look like we're not doing much sometimes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. And I know I need to resist those thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to resist those thoughts. But it is so hard. It's really hard because it does sound fun. And I wish I was more of a fun mom. I think I'm a kind of a fun mom, but not as fun as you.
Well, I wish I was more of an organized mom.
Yeah. So there you
go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I love that conversation so much.
Me too. And I think we need to have it more. We say this probably about every topic, but
I know.
Let's continue this conversation in our Facebook group.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Great.
Yes. Unrefined homeschoolers, please join it and we'll have some great conversations about this episode.
Yes.
What are your strengths? And maybe you don't know yet, and that's okay. I mean, we're figuring it out. You're probably figuring it out too. Or maybe you know and you can help us. Help us all figure it out too.
Yes. All right. Let's move on to loving this week.
Yes. Angela, what are you loving this week?
All right. I am loving my new noise canceling headphones. Ooh. I don't know why it has taken me so long to get a pair, but I just did.
That's so great. Tell us all about them.
Well, okay. So I'm a highly sensitive person, which we've done a whole episode on that. We can link to that. Which means like lots of noise and stimulation is really hard for me.
Yeah.
And so we were flying to Arizona. We just got back, and I don't love to fly. We'll just say that.
Yep.
And so I thought, I'm gonna get some noise canceling headphones because like when I hear plane noises, I kind of freak out.
Yeah.
Yep. And so I thought, I'm gonna get some noise canceling headphones, and these things are amazing. Do you have some?
I don't have any personally, but my husband has some for the plane also.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And we just got some for my daughter, my oldest daughter.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
okay.
For Christmas.
Well, yeah, I was like, I'm going to wear these around the house.
Yeah.
This is great. So anyways, I looked on Amazon, of course, and I found these pair, which I will link.
Okay.
So when you now Amazon just knows what you're thinking. Like when
they
I
do.
put in like noise canceling headphones, it's like, well, do you want the cheap pair, the medium pair, or the high price pair?
Sure.
And I was like, well, cheap. Okay, this is the best option for you then. Like this is the 5-star option for the cheap pair.
Okay.
So that's what I got.
Okay.
They're like $50.
Okay.
Which, I mean, that's still high price.
What's the brand name? I was just wondering.
It's called Mpow.
Oh, yeah.
Mpow.
Yes, I think those are the same ones we got for my daughter.
Oh, okay.
And I was thinking I'm going to get some of those. So, great.
Yeah. And they work slick and they're Bluetooth.
Yeah.
So, like, I just listen to my music. And when somebody wanted to talk to me, I had to take the ear off. And the plane was so loud that I was like, is this what I hear all the time on a plane? This deafening noise?
No,
it can't be good for the ears. Yeah. So anyway, that is definitely what I'm loving this week.
Oh, I'm so happy for you.
Yeah,
I really am. So
Thanks.
do you think it definitely made your airplane ride more enjoyable?
It did, for sure.
Good.
For sure.
Oh, that's so great.
Yes. Loved it. Yes. What are you loving this week, Maren?
Okay, I am loving my new smart water bottle.
Oh, yeah. I've seen you using it.
Yeah, I'm loving it. It's from Target. Well, actually, you can get it on Amazon too. Hydrate Spark 2.0 smart water bottle. And it syncs up with your phone and it tells you how many ounces you've drank every day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And
it gives you a little dingle when you're like.
Yeah, it gives me a lot of positive feedback, which I love. I want that all day. Give me all the sparkles and the dingles. I'll take it. Just like, great job. You took a sip of water. Thank you. Thank you, water bottle. But I was real hesitant to get it. My husband got one. And I was like, yeah, that's just because you're so like goal oriented. And I'm just like, I don't need that. I drink a lot of water. I'm fine. And I do. I thought I did. I don't know. I think I drink more now. I mean, I definitely drink more now.
Yeah, for sure.
Because sometimes at the end of the day, I'd be like, you know what? I don't want to get up in the middle of the night. I'm done.
Yeah.
But with this, I really am more, I keep track all day. And so I make sure I'm kind of ahead of the schedule. It gives you a little graphic of a circle, and it tells you like where you might want to be so that you aren't behind.
Is this on your phone?
On my phone, yeah. And on my watch. And on my watch, which is great.
So do you have to open something on your watch, or is it just on there?
You can open it, or you can put it on your like home screen kind of thing. Yeah.
So it's just always reminding you.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's kind of up to you how you want, how much you want feedback. But I have not missed one day of getting to my goal. Yeah. So
that's amazing.
I'm feeling really good about myself. It's not a hard goal to make for me. And I feel really good about, it's not completely ambitious of a goal, like too hard for me.
I kind of think it is. Well, for a lot of people. Maybe
yeah,
not
maybe.
For you, but
maybe.
Like
but
drinking enough water is hard.
I had been very conscious about my water drinking for like a couple months before I started using this. So I was kind of, working towards it anyway, but this really just upped it. So I'm really consistent now. I'm consistently drinking enough water every day.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. If you want links to our Loving This Week's or anything else that we talked about, they'll be in the show notes or in your podcast app. And you can find us on social media. We'd love to have you follow us. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Homeschool Unrefined. And we have a website, homeschoolunrefined.com, where you can find everything about us.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.
Homeschool Unrefined is created and produced by Maren Gorse and Angela Sizer. Ethan Miller is our editor, and Amanda Ginn is our VP of all the important things.